Okay, keep the chair back. Is that good?
John, you good on your end?
We are good.
I didn't even see.
You let me know when, Russ.
Who's Matt Sullivan? Minute taker. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening and welcome to the Monday, March 8th Litchfield Board of Selectmen meeting. The board has just come out of a paperwork review. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is the review and approval of consent items. We have the accounts payable manifest of March 2nd, 2021 in the sum of $1,590,015.89. And March 9th of 2021 in the sum of $96,398.51. We have a payroll manifest of March 4th, 2021 in the sum of $55,777.24. And March 11th, 2021 in the sum of $53,952.82. We have 6 veteran credits, 1 recertification in the sum of $3,000. Are there any items members would like to have removed from consent? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Larry.
I'll second.
We have a second by Mr. Lynch. Any discussion? All those in favor, Mr. Larry,
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle's,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. Is there any other business members would like to have added this evening?
Mr. Chairman, as we discussed earlier today, I'd like to be able to discuss a compensation of a public employee and non-public this evening.
Okay.
Along with the scheduled reputation.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45 PM this evening. The first item of business is the approval of the meeting minutes for February 6th, February 8th, February 22nd, March 1st, and March 2nd. Has everyone had a chance to review? Do we have any changes for those minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
Make the motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Lynch,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Queenan. Any discussion? All those in favor, Mr. Larry,
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle's,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. Next item is review of election coverage. Mr. Brown.
As we all know, we have our municipal election tomorrow morning. It'll be from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. And we've all sort of reached out to you and found out what your schedules were for election coverage. The moderator, town clerk, all in, making sure that we have selectmen there and good representation. So the feedback I received is Chairman Weber, you would be there all day. You may step outside a couple times because you are campaigning for another term. Vice Chairman Leary, he'll fill in as needed. Selectman Lynch is available, I believe, all day. Selectman LaSalle's indicated he will be there all day, and Selectman Queenan will be there all day. Again, the same situation as Mr. Weber, probably going to step out and campaign a little bit. So it appears that, we'll have, they like to have 3 selectmen there throughout the day from the start to the end.
We'll add that I have to step out for about a half hour just outside to take a conference call regarding my mother. My sister's going to be there. We'll do it in the parking lot.
You're still on the premises, so
That's right.
that's all that counts. All right, perfect. Thank you. So next is the Town Office Police Station Flagpole. Mr. Brown.
All fixed.
I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I'm sure that you're all aware of it. But about a week ago, we had an issue where the governor had ordered the flags to be at half staff. When the staff went out to lower the flag, the inside of the flagpole had iced up and the and the rope inside was frozen. They were not able to lower the flag. And the reason was there's an outside cover, we're assuming, that's been missing for a few years, and water must have been able to penetrate inside the flagpole. They trying to figure out a way to melt the ice, so they used a torch and try to heat it up. And as they were working on it, someone else noticed that the base of the flagpole was cracked. So they quickly, the highway crew, and there was a police officer there, quickly got a backhoe, had to actually take the flagpole down. We don't know if the crack was from the, the ice damage and the expansion. And we had the high winds a couple of days before that. And so the flexibility of the aluminum pole is supposed to flex, was rigid, and it cracked the base. Whatever the case is, the flagpole had to come down. We'll be filing an insurance claim, and we'll get the flagpole repaired, whether it's insured or not. But we'll have to wait till the spring when the weather improves.
And it will be white to match the other ones.
It will be white, match the other
Okay.
two new poles that were installed.
Is it gonna be a permanent white? Painted a flagpole before,
Oh,
okay, I have,
they come through now. They go white permanently
okay.
with a gold ball on top.
We did find the specifications for the flag were here when they built the building. Troy's got a complete copy of the specs on the whole thing. So we can go out and, that's not a cheap flagpole, we all know.
No.
Do we have a temporary pole for flying the flag or?
So what we've done is we've taken the town flag down. You're flying the American flag on one pole and the state flag on the other.
For that. Plus, we used the cone up there, and I put a flag on that for prosperity. Okay?
For what?
For just general looks. Where the
Prosperity.
I was questioning your use of the word.
I know.
That was one of his Archie Bunker references.
It was used to help the guys remember where it was. We do it at the cemetery all the time.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Next, we have the COVID-19 vaccination EMD aid agreement. Mr. Brown.
All right, this was brought to my attention by our emergency management director. The New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services is offering agreements with all towns and cities throughout the state so that we can have our staff step up and provide services at all the different vaccination sites. These services can be through our trained, EMTs, firefighters, but it also can be even as basic as traffic detail. So it could even be highway people just going up and helping out with various types of work. But what this agreement will do is an agreement between the town and like I said, the Department of Health and Human Services. It allows us to have our volunteers go up. They'll work at our already established special detail rate, and then we'll bill Department of Health and Human Services. They'll reimburse us for the hourly rate and any of the benefits. I think I read that there is a cap per town of $10,000, so we would not exceed $10,000. I don't see that being a problem, but I have heard that we do have employees that are willing to step up and go assist at these vaccination sites. And I think we all saw the news this weekend how, the Laconia site at the racetrack was big. And, it looks like there's plans to do more of those events. So it's an agreement and just needed the board, if the board's comfortable with it, and just to authorize me to be able to sign it.
That includes all expenses,
It-
mileage
all-
and so.
Yeah, it was all, they said all benefit, I didn't see mileage, but I mean, all payroll benefits, workers' comp, everything that we would bill out.
Okay.
I'm not saying mileage isn't included, but I just didn't recall seeing that we could, usually I think that they might be taking a town vehicle.
I had the good experience of going for my first vaccination on February 25th. And it happened to be at the Southern New Hampshire University site that was run by for the most part, by the National Guard. And I have to say, it was absolutely wonderful. They had people, going in 6 different lanes, and, there must have been 30 people there, and it was a great experience. So it's good.
So under paragraph 1.1, it does say, shall not reimburse expenses related to travel time to or from the vaccine sites. So it doesn't talk about mileage, it just talks about travel time.
Time worked.
Do you have any idea what site they'd be going to?
I don't, but I know,
Wherever they're
they're
needed.
using, right now, they're not, what they're doing is, my understanding, the National Guard sites, they're leaving those under the National Guard. And then these other sites that are going to start, popping up is where they're going to be using these types of personnel.
There is talk about the one they had this weekend, and today they're gonna reopen that again sometime this summer. It was on the news. And that's not in Laconia. It's closer. That one over there. But they are talking that, and I heard that they want to do it some more in some of the high schools around the larger parking
Yeah.
lots. To get that,
School
it'll
teachers.
expedite the shots, which I haven't got mine yet. I'm still good. I'm 6 days out. 8 days.
So they'll be being paid by this directive?
We
can
we will
reimburse.
pay them just like any other special duty assignment, like if they went out to Mel's and we're working out there or working, for Eversource doing the tree trim work. So both the police department and fire department both have a special detail rate.
Mhm.
So we would pay them and then seek reimbursement through the Department of Health and Human Services.
This is gonna be done on the weekends or during the week?
They don't know yet.
It could be any day of the week.
It's not gonna leave us short-staffed during the week, is it?
Well, typically, like any other special detail, if, employees are expected to show up to their assigned work schedule.
Okay,
And, however, sometimes they'll take an earned day, and go out and do traffic detail somewhere, but it's always scheduled, so.
okay.
For the most sites, or for the most part, I think the actual vaccinations are maybe Tuesday through Saturday. So there may be a Saturday, but from what I've seen, most of the time in a regular routine, they're not on Sunday. So.
If everyone's comfortable, we need to make a motion to allow town administrator to sign it.
So move.
We have a motion by Mr. LaSalle's.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Lynch. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Mr. Larry,
All right,
Mr. LaSalle's,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 5-0.
The way this reads, we get reimbursed,
Yep.
period.
And even says for personal expenditures. So that could be, gasoline for their car also. Next is the purchase order for Mosquito Control contract in the sum of $27,765. Mr. Brown.
This is an annual contract that's been in place for several years, same vendor we've been using. However, this year, I did have some discussions with that vendor and I raised some issues with the price that we were being charged. And we were able to work out a little slight reduction in the price. So I think we were right around 30,000 a year. We've come up with an annual contract for $27,765. And same scope of work that they've done. I don't know, Kevin, they've been in town here for what, 10 years or more?
Yeah, they've been here for quite a while.
So, and just so you understand what this is, this starts off at about this time of the year where they'll file all the permits with the state. You must have a permit on file and approved. Otherwise, you will not be able to apply any of the pesticides. They go around, they set up the traps, so on a weekly basis, they'll be collecting samples and testing them, and also doing control in some of the manholes, some of the swales, some of the town properties. So they do that throughout the year.
Catch basins also, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then if we have, it doesn't happen that often, but if we do have a concern, they will do on public property, like our parks, school properties, they will do a barrier spray. And that's included in this price. And we've had to do that a couple times, like in the fall, early fall, when school activities picking up and the soccer programs going on, we've had to do some barrier sprays. And that's included in the price.
And they do poison ivy control also.
That's something that they've thrown in this year. It's a new thing. And so if we
That's a
see
new
some
one.
poison ivy somewhere, we can call them up. They have the license and they can treat it.
Wow.
That might be good along Albuquerque.
I don't know what prompted that. Maybe they just wanted to add a little.
We shouldn't say anything.
Correct.
The river access.
Don't say anything.
Don't say anything. It's close to the river. But there's a lot of, I would check with conservation areas because Moore's Falls, where there are people walking down there, and the river access, right along the river, there was a lot of poison ivy down there. And I don't know whether the crew had talked about getting rid of it, but if they could work on that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
They did weed
That's what they're
whacker down there. I saw it all too. Keeps the kids away from the bank.
Can we borrow a couple of Charlie's goats?
With the park the
They'll
goats
clean it
down there,
up.
they'll clean it up all
Clean it
night,
right up.
actually. They don't know how to swim, the goats, so we can do that fencing a little different.
They won't go in the water.
I have seen these folks across the street from my house at Griffin. And it's kind of interesting. They just have their machine in the back of a pickup
Just go.
and they just go around like the Babe Ruth field and spray up into the trees. And,
It just comes down.
yeah,
That's how we did all the ball fields. You can do it in 2.5 hours to 3 hours, all the public fields, if you have the right crew. Okay, the goat that sits in the truck and brings the where he's gotta go in and out. We've done it. One time it took us 5 and led by another division. Okay, no way.
So we need a motion to approve the purchase order.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Larry.
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Queenan. Any further discussion?
One question. This West Nile virus, what do you want to call it? Has that been coming down? 'Cause I know the counts have been lower. You know, compared to years past. Has it? been
The
any reports on
the
that?
testing it's been, we've had a couple positive
Yeah,
tests in Manchester.
Manchester gets it all the
And-
time, you're right.
Just don't allow the Manchester mosquitoes in Litchfield. So
That's why they're not allowed to cross the border. The immigration rules. I'll let it go at that.
so what all do they test these for?
West Nile disease.
I think they're doing West Nile, Triple E.
Okay, all of
Yeah.
those.
All the nice ones.
And they do it on a weekly basis.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Mr. Larry,
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle's,
All right.
Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 500. The next item is tax abatement application, map 5, lot 164, right away off Cardinal. Mr. Brown.
This is actually all good news, I believe. I classified it as a tax abatement because the property owner has filed three different things. They filed for a tax abatement. They've applied for, to put this property in current use because it qualifies because of a certain percentage. It sounds like it's 100% classified as wetland. And when that's the case, it doesn't need to be, it can be less than 10 acres. And the third item that they've reached out and said, you know, they would have no problem whatsoever of donating this land to the town if the town wishes to accept. So it's 2.9 acres of land. It's actually, we have town property on both sides of this parcel, so it does provide some connection. It, like I said, it's really not land that you're going to be able to use, but for conservation purposes and just having it there as open space, and because it connects to other town parcels, there's some benefit to it.
We have land back.
What the property owner is looking to do is, they've had discussions with conservation. Conservation had recommended that they bring it to the Board of Selectmen, that if they donated the land, we would have to abate the taxes that are owed, which is $643. It's possible that if we go ahead with this transaction, you know, it's possible that a tax bill might get generated in May, and we'd have to abate that one, be like $300, but hopefully we could get the transaction done before then. And then we would incur whatever legal costs involved in, you know, drafting up the deed. That's really minimal.
So
Like I said, the Conservation Commission has met, discussed this. They support it. And I think it makes sense, but
So probably for a max of $2,000, we'll end up with almost 3 acres that's worth 34.6.
yeah, it's not a buildable lot, but
Yeah, but I think it's great.
it says it's a right of way off Cardinal Lane, so it could help us
We get to
with
it.
access to
Where you move.
our land.
So will this be the town's land or will it be conservation?
So we would, because the Board of Selectmen are dealing with this, it would be the town's land.
I think it's great.
Let's start with them, by the way.
Yeah.
The only downside is the $300 a year in tax revenue.
Right.
And to be honest with you, that revenue is probably going to be depleted because if we didn't accept the land, that's why they kind of got the abatement in and the land use, putting the land in current use. I think the tax bill would drop to $34 a year if they put it in current use. But they're like, at this point in time, just, you know, if the town wants it, just get it off. They can't use it. And for $34 a year in taxes, just.
Yeah.
I think they held on to it because they thought they didn't want to put it in current use and they wanted to, you know, keep it unrestricted because they own some land down there and they thought they could use it. But now I think everyone's moved on and they don't live in town and the family and children don't want the lands.
So do you need a motion from us to approve?
No, I just, if everyone's in agreement, I will work with Laura and get this going, and then you can have a motion when I'll bring it back to you when we actually approve the deed. So there'll be a vote.
You can send a letter to Mr. and Mrs. Davis, just thanking them for their donation, if you could, please.
In Alton. Yeah, they moved north.
Did they?
Yeah, Alton.
Are you still in the daycare?
Mhm.
Yeah, or preschool.
Preschool.
Yeah, my son went there.
That's right. I remember who they are.
Those people.
Next we have is administrator's report, Mr. Brown.
Short and sweet, right?
Pretty quick.
I'll go reverse here. Just for the public, if you been kind of watching us over the last year and a half, you may recall that the Board of Selectmen was approached by some of the membership of the Litchfield Landing community, which is a park on New Hampshire on 102. And they wanted to do, they are currently connected to Pennachuck Waterworks, but the infrastructure within the park is still the old original infrastructure. So there's a lot of concerns with the pipes that are in the ground. They don't know where some of them go, and there's a mixed match of different pipes. And so there's a program in the state, a New Hampshire block grant. It's a federal subsidized program that would allow the town to apply on their behalf. We would administer the grant, but the first step would be to do an assessment of the infrastructure that's there, with the hope that the assessment is going to verify that, yes, this system is in disrepair and needs to be replaced, and that could open the door for additional federal funding. This is all based on the income of the park. So this could be a good thing for the park that, they're able to replace all the water lines in the park and get themselves, a good, reliable supply line throughout the park. So we were awarded, we went ahead, we agreed that we would do this, and we just received notice that Government Counsel had awarded the contract to the town. It's $25,000. You will be, these block grants are, because they're federal funds, you'll be, this will be on your agenda a few more times as we spend the money, and there may be some public hearings required. So I just wanted to let you know, because I know that many of you were here when we started this process, and obviously with the award, we'll still have some involvement. And it may lead to the next round of grant funding, which would do the infrastructure.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And the last thing is, I was contacted by our legal counsel, that it's our special legal counsel that we were using for the St. Gobain case. And they're familiar with some action that was just recently filed by the town of Merrimack. And there's several citations with things that are going on between the state's permitting and, with the treatment that's going on there, with the smoke, with the stacks and that kind of stuff. So they wanted to see if at your next meeting, you'd be willing to meet with them. It'd be a non-meeting with legal counsel. And they would kind of give you a briefing on what was filed and have a discussion with you about some action that you may want to take, some similar action.
So this is the firm that we talked
You
with.
met with 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yes,
Could we then also
we could, yes.
talk with them about Pennachuck?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good time.
yeah,
If the article passes tomorrow, then, yeah.
yes. I thought,
Great idea, Rich.
And I was glad to see that they reached out to me, and they, they're still monitoring everything. And it just caught their attention. They said, we should talk to the board about this, because I think the board may want to take a look at this and consider the same action, or maybe reaching out to Merrimack and seeing if there's a way we can work together.
Good. So you're going to get them on the docket for the 22nd?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
do you know if that was the town of Merrimack or the Merrimack Village water?
I believe it was the town of
I
Merrimack.
think that's what I saw in the news, was the town.
It's a good catch by them.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
That's it. Okay, selectmen reports. Ms. Green.
What was exciting on March 2nd? About the Dark Hole Farm. It was just a, introduction preliminary meeting. And we will go from there. They've been willing, they showed us two different scenarios they were going to explore. One had more houses on condos on 3A and a few down the abutters on Temple Street. The second one had less on 3A, but more going down the abutters on Temple Street, so. The farm and the house came up and the owner is willing to work right as in the moment to see if there's some solutions to try to save it or move it. That's on the table. And we'll go from there. The next meeting is March 16th at 7 PM. And the details will be on the website. Nashua Regional Planning Commission meets March 17th, 2021 at 7 PM. It's open to the public. And their meeting details are on their website, www.nashuarpc.org. And the Heritage Commission, I haven't had time to say we don't have a meeting tomorrow because of voting. I'll do that after tonight. And so the next meeting will be April 13th, 2021.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Concerning recreation, we have a meeting tomorrow evening, but I will not attend because of polling. Still there,
Nothing from the budget committee. We won't meet until after. Yeah,
still on your hiatus.
still on hiatus.
Mr. Lynch?
Had the pleasure of going to my first conservation meeting. This project came up as well as Kim just mentioned. They're looking at it in two ways. There's part B and there's part C, A and B. There's a lot of good land down along the river, not part of it. Possible negotiation to keep that as open space, farmland, whatever you want to do it. Okay, and that's it. The rest of the meeting was very good.
Okay,
I
great.
behaved.
Mr. LaSalle's?
I really have nothing to report.
It's from the house,
Huh?
from the house.
Oh, well. I had a lot to go on. I just came from there.
That's what I figured.
It was a tough day.
Glad to hear.
All right, thank you, everyone. The only other item of business added was a non-public session by Mr. Brown. The only thing left in the agenda this evening is a non-public session. We'll have two of them. The first will be under RSA 91A:32A, compensation of any public employee. And the second one will be RSA 91A:32C, reputation. Do we have a motion to go into non-public?
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Larry.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Lynch. Roll call, Ms. Queenan.
Aye.
I am an aye. Mr. Larry?
Aye.
I
We are now in non-public. While we do not anticipate the need to return to a public session following the non-public session for any reason other than to adjourn the meeting, we reserve the right to do so if the non-public session necessitates the board taking action in a public session. So we are now in non-public. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to come out and vote tomorrow.
Go vote.
Have a good evening.
It's your town.
Don't
Steve, all the members are in the room, right? So we can drop.